So hey everyone, and in this video we are going to learn about some modules in Node.js, and then we'll be learning how to create our own module. Then we'll also learn how to download a module using npm. So let's begin. Module. So guys, first of all, what is OS module and why we actually use this module? So you have an operating system running on your laptop or PC, right? Here you can see that we have a Windows operating system and it works fine. So if you want to get the details of this Windows operating system using the commands of Node.js, like in your Node.js code you would be writing some commands so that you can get details of this Windows operating system and the free memory and which architecture I'm using, that is 64-bit or 32-bit, how many amount of RAM do I have, and things like that. So for that we actually use the OS module. So first you search for OS module Node.js and then you would get the official website nodejs.org. Inside this you would get all the methods of OS module, and to be honest you won't be using all of them that much, but there are some very basic versions. There are some very basic methods which you must at least know. Okay, so let's begin. So first of all, they are telling us to use this. So by default it's installed already, so you don't need to install it separately. Like there would be some modules or packages which you need to install in Node.js, but not this one. Okay, you can directly use the OS module. So let's try to use this. So first of all guys, here you might get confused. You can see we have node colon os. Okay, instead of this you can directly write os. This would also work, and it just simply says we are trying to use the os package. So first of all we need to import it. Okay, so let's open the folder. Guys, this was the folder in which we were working on, so I'll just open this and I am going to open it with VS Code. I hope everyone has installed VS Code. If not, you can watch my installation video. Okay, so here you can see that we pretty much did some very basic things here. So right now we are going to talk about OS module tut. Okay, so I'm just going to name a file named as os module tut.js. Okay, so here you can see that I've created a file named as os module tut.js, and guys, here I am going to first of all import. So const os equals require, and inside this you need to just pass the OS name, that is OS module. So once you write it this way, a module would be now able to be used. So now any method of OS you can use very easily. Okay, so for example, if you want to know the CPU architecture, what you would write is console log, and let me just write CPU architecture. So if I run this file, so let me just run this file. If I run this, okay, actually the file name is actually osmotule.tut.js. So if you run this, you can see that I got my architecture, and if you run this you can see that I got my architecture as 64. That means this is working perfectly. Similar to this you can get more information. For example, if I try to get CPU information, so I can simply say console.log, and there are actually lot methods. You can search more about this on Google, but I'm just telling you some very basic things. So CPU info, and once you write it this way, so you would get some CPU info in a normal format. So if I write it this way, os.cpus, what you would see is you would get info about the CPU. So you can see you're getting info about the CPU, but the problem is that this is actually the JSON format. That is, you can't print the JSON format directly. First of all, you have to convert that JSON format into a string. Okay, so that's why outside this you just need to write json.stringify. Then you would be able to print this in console. Okay, so remember, whenever you are trying to print anything which is in JSON format, so you won't be able to print it directly into the console. You have to convert it into a string, that is a sequence of characters or words. Then you can see that you would get a lot information like this. So you can see it actually gave me a lot information, complete information about my CPU. Okay, so you can relate with this, right? So very good command, and it would give you a lot info about the CPU or computer which you are actually using. Okay, so these were two very important commands. Now guys, one more important command is total memory. Okay, so if I say console.log And if I am talking about total memory, so if you write os.totalmemory, this would give you memory in bytes. Okay, so if I run this, so you can actually see I got the memory in bytes. Okay, so this is the total memory of my current drive. Okay, current drive, I'm talking about current drive, not the complete computer. I'm just talking about the current drive. So guys, here you can see that it gave me output of around 16 GB, because my laptop has 16 GB of RAM. If you want to convert it into GB, you can simply say, instead of this, if I suppose first of all say I want to convert it into GB, and then I actually need to divide this by 1024, 1024, then 1024, and hopefully it will give you exact results. So you can see almost there. So this is the total memory of my computer, my laptop. And now let's talk about the free memory. So if I just copy this and if I paste it here, and I'm actually talking about the free memory, so os.freemem. Okay, so it would actually give you free memory in GB. Okay, so now if I just write this, so you can see that this is the free memory which I have currently, and this is the total memory, that is I'm talking about RAM. Okay, total RAM, right? So now after this we have one more important command, that is hostname. So if I say console.log, and here if I write os host, so I'm just saying that it would give me the host name. For example, here you can see whatever is the name of your laptop, whatever name you have, it would give it accordingly. Okay, so this is by default name for my laptop, so I would get this name, right? So this is my host name. Now one more thing is, if you print os type, it would give you details about the operating system. That is, if I write os type, it would give me details about my operating system. You can see this is Windows NT. Okay, that means this is a Windows operating system, right? After this we have one more thing, that is platform. So os platform simply gives you the platform which you are having. So it's actually Win32. By default it's Win32 for Windows 11 or Windows 10. So now after this we have one more thing, that is network interfaces. Okay, so network interfaces, so let me just print network interfaces, and again the network interfaces would come in the JSON format, so you have to convert it into the string format. Inside this I'm just writing os.network interfaces. Okay, so right now you can see that I got the network interface, that means IP address, MAC address, things like that. If you are someone who is really into networks, they would be using this. Okay, because sometimes in your development journey also you would be dealing with networks. Okay, so you need to know the IP address or things like that. According to that you can find a lot of things. Okay, so very important network interfaces, right? So now one more thing is, we want one more thing, that is uptime. Okay, so uptime is very important. So if I just say console.log and os uptime, so you would actually get the uptime of os, that is from how long this is actually running. Okay, from how long this is actually running, and it's pretty long for today, but anyways, so you can see that I got the time from when my laptop was on last, turned on. So you can see that it's been so long, so I think I must give this laptop some rest. Okay, so guys, this was all about the OS module. If you want to explore more, definitely you can check out the official Node.js documentation. You'll get more details there. But these were some important methods you would mostly see whenever you are doing something with the OS module.